Today we're going to discuss history lesson. First, I'll read you the poem. I am 4 in this photograph, standing on a wide strip of Mississippi beach, my hands on the flowered hips of a bright bikini. My toes dig in, curl around wet sand. The sun cuts the rippling gulf in flashes with each tidal rush. Minnows dart at my feet, glinting like switchblades. I am alone, except for my grandmother, other side of the camera, telling me how to pose. It is 1970, 2 years after they opened the rest of this beach to us. 40 years since the photograph where she stood on a narrow plot of sand marked coloring, smiling. Her hands on the flowered hips of a cotton meal sack dress. So we have a really great poem describing a photograph that the poet's looking at of herself on this beach. And it's important to look at some of the context of history here. We're in a Mississippi, we're on a Mississippi beach. It's 1970. Everything seems to sound positive and fun until we realize this line here where it says, 1970, 2 years after they opened the rest of this beach to us. And then we see that us and we see that segregation. It goes on to say it's 40 years since the photograph where she stood on a narrow plot of sand marked colored, smiling. So it's a photograph of a little girl. And there's a photograph of her grandmother also at the same beach, and the differences between it. And what I'd like you to do is take some time to analyze this poem today. And I'm going to present you with some questions to think about. So, how does the author divide up the description of the speaker and her grandmother, and how does she connect them? How is she dividing, and where do we see connection? Repetition is going to tie into that connection. What is the difference between the sand the speaker stands on and the sand the grandmother stands on? Describe the setting of the photograph, including details that you can put together that might include season, weather, time of day, or year. What is the mood? What line of poetry shows that to you? What imagery and senses do you find in this poem? So what are you seeing? But also, is there anything described to you outside of sight? Is there anything that it might be feeling? Are her toes feeling anything? How might the sand feel? Or is she hearing anything, smelling anything? Think of all your senses and write down the ones you can connect to. Who's taking the picture? If you're not sure, guess. Why was the photo taken? And is anything going on that we cannot see? So take some time to jot down the answers to those, see what you think about them, and email them back to me.